Hello again. So now we went from the sketches to the fully fledged 3D model. So of course it was a little bit back and forth again. Like normally when I build stuff, I go into 3D. Whatever I can't really figure out in 3D, I would go back into Photoshop and just paint my way out of it just to figure out what's going on, and then back to 3D and see what I can do there. So a lot of the things in 3D is still left out and left blank. Like for example, you can see all the textures here, the surfaces on these things are left for Photoshop because I still consider it to be faster in Photoshop. But as you can see, there are some props in here that are fully textured, and that is from Kitbash. Except this thing and this thing here is from Sketchfab. It's like a free download, and I think it's fair use as long as it's a non-profit project. It's just fair use to have these in, and they're getting heavily painted over as well. But for the other content, it's like from Kitbash, where you can go in and download all these paid models, and then they're really, really great. I mean, they do really, really good stuff. So for example, here it was this cyber street, so you'll find this prop, and some of the other like tires and air conditioning units and stuff like that. So this is a set that we used for another commercial project not that long ago, and we could reuse some of this in this tutorial here just to showcase, and basically they're just like fillers. They're just filling in the blanks here, so every time a thing looks a little bit too bland, then I just go in and fill out with like dumpsters and air conditions and umbrellas and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, so the idea is that we need to create a final concept piece. Mm-hmm. And so how we get there is just to use the tools that make this process as fast and smooth as possible. Like all this is going to be painted over at the end anyway. Mm-hmm. So instead of us having to sit and build parasols and a car and air condition, I mean, we could do that, but it would just be a huge waste of time when we could just buy that set online and then just have all the assets in there. Yeah. So we can quickly also build the level as we see it in our minds, and then be able to have it actually in 3D so much quicker than having to build everything from scratch. And
another really important thing, now we're just gonna have this, like, I'll engage this human stack that I built here. So this is quite important because this is my reference of the world. So you will see like there's characters popped in all over the places. This is just to make sure that the height and the size of everything is correct. So sometimes when you see like layouts made by juniors, then you will see like, why is that building like 5 times taller than a normal human? Because it was not set up in 3D and it was not set up according to a human scale. So I've moved these characters around for all the props to have a coherency, so everything should be to scale. That said, it's really difficult to make sure that everything is on scale, but just like 95% of it is that there. Which the characters actually set up, the characters you just saw, they actually set up according to human scale, so they're 1.8 meters, which is really good because Blender has, if you press Shift F, you get into like this look mode. If you press Tab, boop, I engage gravity. So now it's a first-person shooter game. And it's lacking like bananas because it's a really big scene. But this is a really, really neat feature because now I'm just standing in my scene here and just looking at it's the ivy that maybe draws it down. I'm just looking at why the scene becomes so much lighter when I look in this direction. But if I press WASD, I can actually move around my scene. So it basically functions as a first-person shooter game now. And to the extent that you can actually jump as well if you press, I think it's V. Yeah, it's a really, really small jump. There's like very, very limited gravity, very heavy gravity on this one. So you can't really do like a...
And of course, it's a shame that it's lagging a bit. But the idea is not just to find the right shots, so it could be a good way to do some shot finding. And as you can see, while Andreas was in the back, like there was some like blank air, because the idea is not to take a shot from there. The idea is to take a shot from where we started out looking. So of course, all this is just backdrop.
Yeah, this is just backdrop from the camera. Oh, just have to get out of this one. From the camera perspective, which is down there. I engage something. So from the camera perspective here, everything look correct, and you'll never be able to see what's going on up here. But that's when you make a game, the studio will make a gray box level. So that is basically the same as this one, coming up there. It's the same as this one, gray boxes building the level, but not to this detail level. Everything will be left out. So all the ivy trees, everything is out. And it's basically just gray boxes. So everything is just there to test, like how high can you jump? Can you walk through here? Do you get stuck in the places? Is it even fun to play? I mean, is this level engaging? Because if a gray box is good, visuals will just be like icing on the cake. So I mean, it's just like to make it even more juicy, of course.
Yeah, now we started blocking it out, as you saw in the previous video, having different 3 different takes on it.
Oh yeah.
I've been working a lot on this one, trying to make sure the spaces feel right by walking around in them with this character, looking around, like where can you actually see if you were playing this, and where would you be able to look, and this would actually be like standing in the corner. Like there you can see some elements of cover, and you can see that there are like you can go through the sewer, and then you can go in there, and you can walk up the stairs and walk up the ledge. So it's actually basically the same area as the previous sketch. It just filled in a lot more with the kit bash content and some custom build content, and some content that is just gray boxes, but that will be drawn over in Photoshop.
Yeah, so all these will be painted over.
So the idea is just to figure out the space and how it should be used and how it should be populated, and then take it into Photoshop afterwards.
Yeah, so as Jannick said, here it's just like it's really easy to still play with all the ideas. Like it's here in the sketches. For example, this thing like you can go down here and then you can enter the building through this underground sewer pipe here. So that's quite easy to block out in 3D. So, but still, like in the blocking out and building phase, we actually had quite a lot of ideas as well. So the idea with this Omni drone delivery, like it's a one eye. So we started to think about like, what if it was just, I don't think it's in the, no, they had this weird Atari kind of logo. But we thought, what if the Omni drone was just this Omni eye, like one eye that sees all? So we put 2 buildings, like I think inspired by this logo. We just put the 2 buildings like that, and then put a giant
eye.
Chrome copper ball, like from what's the movie with The Rock? The high rise in Shanghai, I think, where there's on fire. Skyscraper, bingo. Yeah. It has some sort of like really big,
like secret lair, something.
And it was like it's these kind of talks where you say, oh, there was this movie with The Rock, and then I never can remember anything. But Jannick is super great at you're good at like, oh, it's that movie. Oh yeah, it's true. Like wouldn't it be nice if it was a secret layer with a window up here where the evil guy can sort of like observe his realm like every evil guy does.
Well, that's the whole idea, also to go back and forth from 3D and sketches, just to get these ideas and to be able to develop these ideas. And sometimes 3D is the right tool, and then sometimes the Photoshop is the best tool. And sometimes just finding movie or other game references or something to just ignite your ideas and then try to put them in your concept. Yeah. And so this, final 3D image here is how far we got in 3D before we took it into Photoshop. Yeah,
just to wrap that up, so like we have the mirror board, the sketches, and the 3D, and everything feeds into everything. So like when we get an idea in 3D, we put it back into the mirror board, like as a note with this eye. It will feed back into like, we need to do some sketches before I build something in 3D, so we could figure out what's going on. So we normally keep like this full circle going on all the time in the beginning here. But the more elaborate 3D piece becomes, the more locked down all the features become. And then of course there's some final notes that will be carried on to the next stage, which is the paint over. For example, like I wanted the big decal here with a logo, so that you as a player know that you can run in here, like sort of there's an indication that there's a secret hiding place in here. So yeah, back and forth a lot, but then like elaborate 3D, like I would normally take it to this level, and then the rest is just the paint over, because from here I feel that 3D starts to stall, and then it doesn't really help that much that you start to fill in more content or textures or...
Yeah, you get all the information you need about the room and the like scale and where everything's positioned according to each other, and don't have to make that up while you're drawing. Yeah, you get that like directly from 3D.
And you get a lot of lighting information that is so valuable when you start to do the paint over at the end. So a lot of information for free that you can then populate your Photoshop scene with. So I think that's a basic rundown of our 3D and the kits that we used. So like, yeah, really a huge shout out to using kits, because that is so valuable for populating your scene with content so it doesn't look too bland. Yeah, but the next video will be on the painting process, like from the render to the paint over. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.